Can we just say we have another best girl added into My Hero Academia? Setsuna! Woo! Like, whoa! That design! Like, Horikoshi. Like, man, you really know how to design a female character. Like, yo! We got a new best girl. Like, honestly, how this goes, like how this match goes, I might ship Bakugo and Setsuna. We'll see where it goes, but like, man, like, Setsuna, quality. But okay, so let's talk about her for a second. So apparently she is one of the 4 students that was recommended to UA, and she's a part of Class B. Now, Setsuna, we don't really know a whole lot about her. There's really not much details at all. The only thing we know is, like, her quirk ability is called, like, Lizard Cut Tail or something like that. It's, honestly, even with that, it's not really that descriptive. I mean, when you look at her name to her outfit, obviously it has something to do with a lizard, but I doubt it's going to be identical to, let's say, you know, Suyu's ability of being like a frog, bouncing around. It just, I don't think wall climbing and stuff will be like that. I don't think, you know, Setsuna will have something that similar. So, my question is, what type of ability does she have? Like, what is her quirk capable of? Now, let's think about lizards for a second. What lizards are actually capable of? If you cut off a lizard tail, lizards are able to grow back their tails. And there is some studies and all that, you know, they can actually regrow limbs and stuff back too. Because just that's how lizards are. Their genes and stuff like that. So, obviously, if we look at this, if she is lizard and she has her entire design like based off of a lizard, most likely she might have high regeneration for all we know. Maybe that is what she has, her quirk is actually capable of. And if so, I can see how that can be incredibly strong. I mean, we've already seen throughout this entire series that there has been cases of high regeneration, a healing factor. This has been a big thing already we have seen, and if she is actually capable of that, then it would make a lot of sense why she'd be able to fight someone like Bakugo, and it would be a rough challenge for him, because even if he hits her with everything, she could just regen and be completely fine and keep going at the man. And it's kind of like trying to attack a zombie. You can't keep a zombie down, and since this is technically like a training session, even if they're going all out, you know, obviously, you can't be blowing her, you know, into little bits, because that's kind of messed up, and it would be very dark for something like Bakugo to do, even if he is a little bit overboard sometimes with his quirk. I just highly doubt he'll use his quirk to literally just, like, you know, make, you know, Setsuna turn into little bits and pieces. So, yeah, I feel like if she does have a healing factor, it's going to be a big challenge to keep her down. The only way to really deal with her is to restrain her, and that's pretty much about it. Now, anyways, let's talk about the beginning portion of this chapter and what happened. So, like we all assumed, Pony, Ojiro, and Shoji, they were not down. They actually were still up and fighting. We got some clarification to what happened within their match and exactly who won in the end. At the end result, it's still a tie for both sides, Class B and Class A. It ended in a draw, but in the grand scheme of things, what Class B did, or what Pony did for Class B, was a very hero move, and honestly, I think technically, looking at the situation from both sides, Class B won the fight, because, number one, Pony was able to get all of her fellow members, besides one, out of combat and safe. While you had someone like Shoji, he couldn't follow up, couldn't do anything. Yes, you know, his teammates were left behind, and he could save them, but at the same time, she was able to retreat like it was nothing. So, technically, I feel like Class B won that exchange. Just looking at everything and all that, I think they won. In the end, Class A lost. You know, we have it where Shoji and Pony were pretty much the only ones left standing, and Shoji learned a very valuable lesson, kind of, like what he lacks in a lot of ways. He really lacks a lot in range combat to follow up against someone that is in midair. See, Pony was able to basically go in midair, and Shoji really couldn't do much at all. He couldn't really follow her, couldn't do anything. He couldn't really put a stop to her. He just had to sit there and watch her fly away, which resulted in the draw. But if he would have had something like to be able to fly or get up there, he he could have done something, but like I said, he couldn't. So Shoji, he learned a fundamental weakness that he has. He's very bad at long range, or someone that can get up in the air and fly. So if he was going up against someone like, Tokoyami, or going up against someone like, Hawks, he couldn't do anything, okay? Just theoretically, if, he was as strong as Hawks, he couldn't do anything because Hawks could just fly in the air and stay in the air. He wouldn't be able to even reach the man. So, yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of things from this match that a lot of our students, not just Class A, but Class B, are going to get to improve upon themselves. Like, Shoji, he's going to learn how to probably fight at a long range. Ojiro, he needs to be able to display more tactics. Even though it's his whole thing to look like a normal person, or very normal, he does need to have a little bit more of a skill set. Like, he needs to have more things at his disposal that he can use to really help out his team. Now, looking at Ida, Todoroki, and everybody else that was in this match, honestly, I don't think anyone in this round really did that bad. I can't really say anyone was at fault, like, both sides. They all had their own plans. They did very good. They had high endurance. They used their abilities, properly, and they definitely took this like a real simulation instead of like just a training session, which means if they were in a live combat scenario with villains, this is how it would have turned out. So I think in the grand scheme of things, both sides did very well. I think, honestly, Pony was a very shocking, competitor in this. I didn't think she would do as well as she did to imprison, Ojiro like that, just to push him into the prison cell. That was crazy. And then the entire situation with, what was going on with, Shoji and how he couldn't do anything. There's just so many things here that you can really see that our characters, they really went all in. Now, there is one thing I do want to point out, though. Ojiro getting imprisoned like he did, I feel this is where we see the limitations of training. And let me talk about that. See, Ojiro, he was still fit in combat scenario. He was still technically able to fight back against Pony. Even though he was wrapped around her and she was pushing him into the prison cell, technically he still had her completely wrapped. And if he truly, let's say, was a villain, he could have squeezed her even tighter to literally render her unconscious and do something really bad, but obviously he didn't. But on top of that, with the rules of how the prison system works in, this little training scenario, obviously as soon as he entered there, he was out of bounds, it's over, get out, he's captured. But if this was a real fight, that wouldn't have stopped there. The fight wouldn't have stopped. So technically, in the end, it might have ended a lot differently if Ojiro did not have to just completely release everything and let him get restrained. That says a lot. So I feel like, in the grand scheme of things, if this wasn't training, who really knows what could have happened? Who really knows who would have won that, Ojiro or Pony? Pony could have easily brought Ojiro all the way up to the sky and then dropped him. That would have probably knocked the man out, or did much worse. But then, on turn, Ojiro could have probably knocked her out, squeezing her, and then hit the ground too. So we don't really know. But that's just so many things we can't really account for. But once again, this just shows the limitations of training compared to the actual live combat scenario of what would happen in, in real life, or being a hero on the field. So let's talk about the hospital segment, where they're all like in their hospital bed, basically, just, talking about what all happened. I like how Ida, he is reflecting on the match he had with Class B. He realizes that he still needs to improve, he needs to get a lot faster, but then also Todoroki realizes that he failed in a lot of ways because his lack of using his fire side has resulted in him being very weak. Because if he would have opened up with a fire blast, most likely this match would have turned out very differently. But once again, this is a training scenario trying to make him a lot stronger to overcome these weaknesses, and he's finally starting to overcome that issue with his father and, not using his fire side, but now he is starting to use it, which you see how dominant it really was in, this chapter and the previous chapter. But Todoroki has a long way to go. He definitely relies on his quirk a lot. He needs to build up a lot of physical endurance to be able to fight up close and personal, but he also needs to be able to utilize his fire side a lot more efficiently than he has been. Now, looking at Shoji, I've already talked about how he needs to have more range. Ojiro, I think, in some ways, he just needs to have more, besides pizzazz, he just needs to be able to have more skill set to be able to attack people and use his close range combat more efficiently. I just think, overall, everybody did a great job. I can't really, blame anyone. So, yeah, good match. Very good round. Probably the most balanced match out of all the other rounds we have seen. Now, moving into this next one, the fourth round with Bakugo, Setsuna, and all of them, I'm very curious on how this one's going to turn out, because let's look at what Monoma said. Monoma said if Class A has a tie or they lose this match, then it means that there will be no way for Class A to win. Which is also the same thing could be said for Class B. For instance, if Class A wins this match, then it's not possible for Class B to actually win whatsoever. And I really don't know where Horikoshi's going to take this, because obviously this entire arc is to showcase Class B off, to let us see how strong they are, capable they are, and it's not always just going to be about Class A. This entire arc is to give more characterization and development for many characters that have not been in the spotlight for a very long time. But at the same time, I do wonder how he's going to end this. There is 5 rounds, which means that if they win 3 out of the 5, then technically Class A wins this. But if they, have 1 draw, then 2 wins, 2 losses, then overall it's just a tie completely between both classes. And I really hope Horikoshi doesn't end this series, or this arc, this arc in a very cliche way, to where just Class A and Class B end up in a tie, and we don't get a definitive answer who really is the best class, the ones that have trained the most and have overcome many odds and went plus ultra. But I do believe most likely Class A will win this one. The reason why I say that is because Bakugo most likely has a plan that is not very normal, and we do know that Bakugo is very intelligent. He is someone that thinks outside the box, and many underestimate his intelligence because he just seems like an angry kid, but in reality, he definitely knows what he's doing. And I feel like out of all the matches, I feel like round 5, Izuku's going to lose, because I've already talked about this previously a while back in my chapter reviews, but yeah. So that's pretty much about it when it comes to this week's chapter of My Hero Academia. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about it. What was your favorite moment? How do you feel about the new Best Girl Setsuna? Be honest. I love you guys. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.